Welcome to another exciting episode of Ancient Anecdotes powered by Listen Cub. This is your host, Ramanathan Iyer.
And this is Lalita Ramanathan.
And this is Niti Ramanathan.
And this is Vijay Dvivedi.
Appa, who is Vijay uncle?
Vijay Dvivedi is a very good friend. He's also a prolific writer and a columnist for portals like One India and My Ind Makers. Professionally, he works in Singapore as a software architect in Deloitte. He is known for his keen interest in Jyotir Vedanga and other Indic Vedic literature. We are delighted to have him voice for us.
Appa, what time is it?
5:45 am, Papa.
Why are we out in the open at 5:45 am, Pa?
We want to take bath at sunrise. That's why we're going out.
Appa, but if we wanted to take a bath, then we go to the bathroom, isn't it? Why are we walking outside? And why is it so crowded so early in the day?
We want to bathe in the beach, Pa. These people are all outside because they are also having the same idea of bathing in the beach.
Yes, they are all so wet. And yet, they are all having the vibhuti on their forehead and a smile that rivals the gleam of the holy ash.
Granddad used to tell us that bathing in the sea removes so many doshas in the body. According to Ayurveda, everyone has a specific body type called dosha. Vata, Pitta and Kapha are the basic types. Especially people who have Kapha dosha, the ratio of good water is to bad water in their body. It is called as the body's water balance. The sea water sets right the body's water balance. It also helps to set right improper lymph drainage.
What's lymph drainage, Pa?
Suppose it's raining outside and you are craving some samosas.
Oh God, I'm craving them now also, Pa.
Focus, Papa. And someone outside the house is making hot samosas. And the aroma drifts into the house through the windows. What do you think happens next?
I will also drift out of the house like the aroma and join the gentleman who is frying the fritters.
Exactly. Now the salt water in the sea is like the samosas outside. Your going out to meet the samosa wala is like the bad water leaving the body when one bathes in the sea water. This process is called lymph drainage. Did you get it?
I did, but let's be honest. I'm still thinking about samosas though.
Let's for now understand that bathing in the sea just helps to relieve bad water accumulation in the body. Sea water bathing also removes body pain, and if you have accumulated some bad vibes from other people, that also gets nullified.
Papa, wait. How do we accumulate the bad vibes from people, Pa?
When we come across people with some illness, if we are not careful, we will also catch the infection, right? Just like this, the water in our body has the power to catch on to people's moods as well. If someone is grumpy or angry or jealous, the water in us catches these vibes even without them having to say anything to us.
Bad vibes.
Yes, the good news is that the sea water can wash out this as well. See, there are so many benefits of bathing in sea water. Now, will you get all these benefits if you just stood under the shower in the bathroom in the hotel? Does this answer why we aren't bathing in the bathroom today?
I guess it does, Pa. Appa, see there's a beach.
Finally, seashore.
Appa, see, there is a temple gopuram there.
Yes, it is a shore temple.
Appa, is that temple Mahabalipuram? Are we near Chennai?
No, Papa, we are further down on the India map. We are on the kingdom of the Devasenapati, Subramanya Swami. We are in the great town of Tiruchendur. Granddad used to tell us that this is the place from where Subramanya Swami waged a war with the mighty asura king, Shurapadman.
Why, Pa? Why did Lord Subramanya fight with Shurapadman? How did the fight start? Was Indra involved? Usually, if there is a big fight, Indra is always close by, isn't it?
Well, it's anyone's guess that Indra was involved in the overall equation, isn't it? In his famous work, the Subramanya Bhujangam, Adi Shankaracharya pleads with Lord Karthikeya. He says, O Lord who decimated demons, the likes of Shurapadma, Taraka and Simhavaktra, who are but terrible afflictions of the world, tell me, I beseech you, O Lord, tell me, when will you trounce and defeat the afflictions that still plague my mind? I stand hunched, not in devotion, but borne down by the burden of sorrows. Allow me to stand tall, O darling son of Uma, so that I might fall fully at your feet in devotion. Sahasranda bhokta tvaya shuranama hatastaraka simhavaktrascha daityaihi mamantarhridhisto manah klesham eko nahamse prabho kim karomi kvayami aham sarvada dukkha bharavasanno bhavan dina bandhustva danyam nayache bhavat bhaktirodho sadha klipta badho mamadhyam dhrito nashaya umasutattva.
What strong lines! Hearing these lines, I am so sure Lord Murugan would have come rushing to Shankaracharya's side. But what caused the war, Pa? Why did Murugan have to kill Shurapadman? Who is Shurapadman?
Excellent story coming up. In the second book of the Skanda Mahapuranam, the Shivarahasya Khanda contains 3 important chapters that outline the life and activities of Shurapadman: the Asura Khanda, the Veera Mahendrapura Khanda, and the Yuddha Khanda. Born to sage Kashyapa and Surasa were 6 children: Surapadman, Simhika, Simhavaktra, Tadakasura, Ajamukhi, and Gomukha. Surapadma inherited the magical capabilities from his mother and was a shapeshifter and a true master of the dark arts. He was a ferocious warrior. The fact that Asuras were denied immortality as part of the great Samudra Manthanam was not lost on him. He had an axe to grind with the Indradi Devas and was waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, he sent his brothers Tadaka and Simhavaktra to the southern and northern ends of the Mahameru to set up their cities. Tadakasura set up Mayapuri on the southern slopes of the Mahameru. Simhavaktra set up the city of Simhapuri on the northern slopes. Shura himself created a large island off the coast of South India called as Veeramahendragiri with his sheer magical prowess. Ajamukhi, the affectionate sister, meanwhile, was always in search of a good consort for the mighty Shurapadman. It is worth mentioning that while she was searching for such a match for Shurapadman, Ajamukhi married sage Durvasa, and Ilvala and Vatapi were born to her. You do know about the 2 demons who were consumed by Agastya in the Ramayana, isn't it?
Yes, Pa. Agastya's strong belly.
Anyhow, at Kashi, Shachi Devi, Indra's consort, was performing tapas to Mahakala Shiva, and Ajamukhi chanced to set her eyes on the first lady of Swargaloka. She was mesmerized by Shachi's delicate beauty and at once felt that this was the right match for her mighty brother Shurapadman. She took the form of an equally beautiful celestial damsel and approached Shachi.
O fair maiden, you who rival the moon and the stars with your beauty, who are you? I want to seek your permission to wed my mighty brother Shurapadman. He is a strong and brave king. He is rich and powerful beyond human imagination. Come with me, wed my brother, and you will live like a queen for the rest of your mortal life.
Shachi kindly refused.
Oh dear sister, It is sweet of you to offer the world and heavens to me, but I am already married. I am Sachi Devi. I am Indra's consort. I have everything I need. In fact, my husband is going through the low phase of his life. That is why I am currently performing the form of tapas at Kashi to obtain true knowledge. So my single pointed focus is to help my husband come out of his tough times. Yeah, right? She better do tapas. When is Indra not going through the tough times anyway?
Shh, Papa, focus. Shachi continued.
So fair maiden, please do leave me to my priorities.
Ajamukhi was persistent and tried to take Shachi by force. She revealed her true form and Shachi let out a scream of horror. She clasped the Shivalingam at the temple and prayed to Lord Shiva.
Sarveshwara, you are my only refuge. Are you really allowing this violation of dharma to happen?
Ajamukhi used her strength to pry Shachi away from her clasp. Shachi's strength gave in and she let out a sorrowful cry. The earth trembled and the bells of the temple tolled deafeningly. The walls of the temple shook and celestial drums and conches blasted through the morning skies. Within a crack of fiery flames, Shiva appeared with a sword, verily luminescent like the sun itself. Taking the form of Mahakala, Shiva severed Ajamukhi's limbs. In a pool of blood, Ajamukhi retreated to Veeramahendrapuri, to his brother's arms. Bhagnam drishtvath sa khadgam kim tvayeti nirayuda bhruvanti tam shachim bhuya visargharsha kiladvija atha kopavashadena yetya viro asurim tada mahakalo mahakaya grihitva syaha karam tada katibandha lasat sukshma karavalena भीषणः चिच्छेदच करं तस्याः कठिनं निचितेन सह दुर्मुख्याश्च करं छित्त्वा पातयामास भूतले इन्द्राणीम् मोचयित्वाशु वृक्षारामे स्थितः पुनः. Shurapadman was beside himself with anger. Bhanukopa, my son, hearken to your aunt's cries of pain. Appear at once. Agni-Mukha and Bhanukopa were Shura's valiant sons. They appeared at once. Bhanukopa was dumbstruck at his aunt's desolate condition. That's Shachi. She feels she can get away with anything because she has the Devas' protection, is it? The Devas ought to be taught a lesson. Take them all by force. Decimate them, Shura spluttered. Devi Surasa stood firm.
We mustn't let our reason gallop with the winds, my dear Shura. Ajamukhi's indiscretions have hurled her into her predicament. At least you choose discretion over valor. Declaring open war with Shiva is a fruitless folly.
Shura's sister and brothers Gomukha and Simhika stood by their mother. Tadaka was inclined to agree with his mother, but his love for his brother and horror at sister Ajamukhi's plight swayed him. Bhanukopa, however, saw the light in his grandmother's words, but he was also bound to his father's will. Bhanukopa was balanced, however. He reasoned with his father.
Oh father, Aunt Ajamukhi is actually at fault. She should have desisted when she knew Sachi was married, or at least when Sachi resisted Auntie's force. With our strength, we may be able to defeat the Devas, but we won't be able to extract any leverage if we kill them. I suggest we imprison them so that we can ask Lord Shiva to answer for his crimes against Aunt Ajamukhi.
Simhavaktra and Tadakasura agreed with Bhanukopa and added, "We will go with Bhanukopa and ensure no harm comes to him from any surprise attacks." Meanwhile, in another dimension, in another storyline, Brihaspati has already left Indra due to Indra's negligence and disrespect. Indra and the Devas have lost their immortality. The Asuras, meanwhile, had the Bhargava Shukracharya. Under Shukracharya's caring guidance, the Asuras had done severe penances to Lord Brahma and had obtained divine weapons. They also had a boon that would make them the rulers of Amaravati for 1008 celestial years. So the current attack on Amaravati was pretty brief, and Bhanukopa was able to make short work of the already distraught Devas. He took the Devas by force, dragged them from their abodes, and imprisoned them. He forced the Ashwini Kumaras to heal Aunt Ajamukhi's limbs.
So, Shurapadman, his sons and brothers were invincible, is it? No one could defeat them?
Ah, a fair question. No, there was a condition to Brahma's boon. Shiva's son would be the bane of the Shura family.
Oh, yes. I remember this from the Narada and Veena episode, where Himavan asks Narada to stop playing the Veena.
Yes, you are right. What a strong memory you have. Shurapadman and Tadaka had haughtily laughed when Brahma informed them about the catch in their boons that they had received. Tadakasura, undaunted, had chuckled and replied to Pitamaha Brahma, "Shiva, you say? He has been an ascetic since the tragic demise of Sati at Daksha's sacrifice. It would take a courageous and some might say foolhardy maiden to be enamored by his rugged and unkempt personality. She would have to persuade her parents to consent to such a union and secure their blessings. She would have to undertake rigorous penances to attain Shiva's favor. Thereafter, they must bear children, and it is from among those children that one will ever challenge us. I accept these odds, O mighty Brahmadeva." But we all know the marriage with Parvati happened against all odds. Manmatha, the lord of love and affection, was able to use his divine arrows to make Shiva and Parvati have Lord Karthikeya. Karthikeya comes of age, and his first task is to free the Devas and rescue them from Shurapadman.
Oh God, what a tough and daunting task for a small child. What happened then?
Well, war was coming. Looming odds stood on both sides and foretold death and destruction. Shiva asked his devotee and general Veerabahu to assist Lord Subramanya in his endeavor. Veerabahu attempts to bring peace between the two sides, and as it is customary to make an attempt to see if peace can prevail somehow, Shurapadman was advised by Tadaka as well as Bhanukopa to accept a peaceful respite and let the Devas go. Devi Surasa, Shurapadman's mother, also advised him to choose discretion as the better part of valor. But Shurapadman was hell-bent on going to war. Devi Surasa refused to participate in the war. The war was terrible. Veerabahu overcame Bhanukopa. Lord Subramanya overcame both Tadaka and Simhavaktra. The war is said to have lasted 6 days. Agni-mukha fell on the 4th day. Shura's sister Ajamukhi falls as well, but Simhika doesn't participate. Shurapadman prayed and begged for assistance from Devi Surasa. "Oh mother, I have lost my brothers at arms. My sons lay dead on the battlefield. My armies are all decimated. My weapons are spent. You are my only respite. Please, please stand by my side and help me vanquish this mere boy. Granddad used to tell us that Devi Surasa arrived at the battlefield responding to her son's cries. Surasa refused to use weapons as she knew her son was on the wrong, but motherly affection blinded her gumption.
Son, you would really do yourself a good turn if you stop thinking him to be a mere boy. How many times do I tell you? Kartikeya is verily Lord Shiva himself. I can't participate in this war, but I think I can still give you some assistance.
Shurapadman looked keenly at his mother's loving eyes. Surasa continued.
There is a special mountain called the Sudhamandara, which is where the life-giving Sanjeevani herbs grow. The mountain is in the northern quarters near the Himalayas. A deep trench there connects the northern and southern quarters through the ocean. The Sudhamandara mountain is perched right at the entrance of this deep trench. Not many know that it is possible to pull the mountain from the northern quarters through a tunnel from below and raise it above the ocean's water level in the southern quarters. But this phenomenon can last only for 1/4 of a muhurta, 12 minutes in all. After this, the earth's gravity would force the mountain to go back to the northern quarters. This is primordial ancient knowledge and requires the strength of a god to beat the earth's gravity and pull a mountain. Being the wife of sage Kashyapa, I possess this knowledge and tremendous strength. I will grant you some of my raw elemental strength and teach you the method to bring the Sudhamandara above the ocean. Here, heal your armies and yourself in this time.
Shurapadman was doubtful. Oh, that's unbelievable news. But mother, even in double that time, I will not be able to extract the herbs and heal both myself and my armies. Devi Surasa looked at Shurapadman with impatience.
Who said you need to collect these herbs? Have you learned nothing about the sea and the winds? Merely bringing the mountain here will allow the sea winds to flow over the mountain slopes. The ritual I am going to teach you is specific. It grants the person performing the rite to direct the healing winds towards a particular place on the battlefield. Your warriors will rise again. You will still have one fighting chance. It is not much, but I hope this help reaches you at the turning of the tides.
Granddad used to say that the earth shook as Shura used every ounce of his will and his metal to drag the huge mountain through the connecting trench. The mountain was not a small one, and pulling it against the earth's force was not trivial. But Shurapadman was no ordinary asura as well. The large mountain was replete with greenery and was beautiful beyond human imagination. As the mountain coursed through the tunnel and surfaced above the lashing mountain waters, the winds blew over its slopes. A cool and shining, healing aura came from the Sudhamandara and blew over the shores of Veeramahendrapuri. Shura was ready for this. He directed the aura to where his men lay lifeless. Wonders of wonders! All the fallen asuras stood back up with life as though waking from a slumber. Shura continued to hold the mountain steady, although his hands quivered more and more under the strain. As 12 minutes passed, Shurapadman was visibly shaking with the effort of holding the mountain against the earth's gravity. When 12 minutes passed and 4 lakh asuras came alive, bolstering Shura's ranks again, Shura let go of control of the mountain as it got dragged back into its original position in the northern quarters, going through the trench by the earth's gravity. Papa, do you remember Tara's father, Sushena?
Vali's wife Tara? But they are characters in the Ramayana, isn't it? That happens in the second age, right? You told me that Rama's time is called Treta Yuga.
Yes, Tara's lifetime is definitely during the Treta Yuga, But Sushena is Varuna's son, just as Vali and Sugriva were Indra and Surya's sons, and Hanuman was Vayu's son. Sushena was but a mere small boy at that time, but Granddad used to tell us that he was very much alive and he witnessed the great healing mountain going back to the northern quarters, a mountain which can bring even people back to life. He didn't make anything of the knowledge at the time, but later, when Ravana's arrows would wound Lakshmana and Sugriva's Vaidya, Sushena comforts Rama that there is still hope for Lakshmana if the herbs on the Sudhamandara mountain in the northern quarters are brought here. He says that these herbs can save Lakshmana. Sushena speaks about 4 herbs: Vishalyakarani, which ejects and removes weapon shards from the body; the Savarnakarani, which removes poison and discoloration in the skin; the Sanjeevakarani, which brings back consciousness; and the Sandhani, for setting right fractures. Mayura Rupo Maghavan Aprartha Yadasavapi Tadeshantu Vachashrunvan Deveshah Kripayanvitaha Aveksha Shaktim Atulam Shatru Samhara Karinim Dvidha Bhitva Asuram Shighrat Agacheti Mumochatam Manda Manda Vinirgatya Suryakoti Samaprabha Varshayanti Mahadvahnim Vinivarya Suram Tamaha Maya Rupam Chatasyashu Shaktiresha Samagata Yatha Surasya Nikatam Tadanim Asurottamaha Papata Brahmano Pyantam Vipinnam Bhutale Bhrasham Evametasya Daityasya Mayam Vikshya Duratmanah Guhasya Sa Parashaktihi Kopenatyanta Bhishana Mahasamhara Rudrabha Vyapnuvanti Jagattaram Tamenam Asuram Goram Vaksho Bhitva Dvijottamaha Vinirgatya Punashaktihi Bhasayanti Viyatsthalam Stuyamano Surasarvaihi Vyoma Sangam Bhasikshanat Snatva Devadi Devasya Karamapa Mahisuraha Dvidha Bhuto Asurapapa Bhagai Neikena Barhinaha Kukkutasya Parenayam Sharirabhyam Vinirgataha Mayura Kukkutakaro Paramesham Guhantata Yotumabhyagate Gopat Utpliptyot Prityaramhasa Krupayatau Guhasakshat Paramananda Vigraha Mayura Kukkutabetau Avalokaya Danjasa. The Devas on Kartikeya's side stood aghast, but Lord Karthikeya only smiled and called out to Shurapadman,
O peerless Shura, watch.
Granddad used to tell us that it is at this juncture that Lord Karthikeya is said to have shown his cosmic form, his Vishwarupa, to Shurapadman. In the Skanda Puranam, Karthikeya's cosmic form is described as having many mouths and eyes which appear in all directions. The form shines with the brilliance of 1,000 suns bursting forth in the sky all at once. The form contains all creatures of the universe, displaying the cycle of birth, sustenance and destructions, all happening simultaneously. Shurapadman sees gods, asuras, daityas, danavas, nagas, sages and creatures from various realms all within his form. The scene wasn't a stationary one. Lord Karthikeya's cosmic form was very much alive as it interacted with Shurapadman's reality. The mighty form consumed everything around it. It consumed trees and mountains and oceans, and also the entire Asura army in one go. As Shura looked on, all the 400,000 Asuras that he spent every ounce of his energy to reanimate were all absorbed into Lord Karthikeya's cosmic form and became nothing all at once. Shock and helplessness gripped Shurapadman. In a moment, Lord Karthikeya resumed his mortal form and quickly released the terrible Shakti missile. The missile is called as the Velayudham in Tamil. But what about Shurapadman? Will he retaliate the missile? Alas, Although Murugan's cosmic form was no longer in reality, it was as though they were etched into Shura's eyes forever. Shura saw nothing and he collapsed to the ground. Waves after waves of devotion consumed his entire being. As the terrible Shakti arrived to pierce his being, Shurapadman reflexes finally kicked in. In the nick of the time, Shura converted himself into a tree and then received the missile. The tree broke into two pieces. One became a peacock and another became a rooster. Shurapadman besieged Subramanya Swami to accept both these animals as his vehicles. Thus ended the great Kandar Sashti. துதிப்போர்க்கு வல்வினை போம் துன்பம் போம் நெஞ்சர் பதிப்போர்க்கு செல்வம் பலித்து கதித்தோங்கும் நிஷ்டையும் கை கூடும் நிமலரருள் கல்தர் சஷ்டி கவசம் தனை அமரரிடத்தீரவமரம் புரிந்த குமரனடி நல்ஜே கூறி. Lord Karthikeya smiled and said,
Appa, me.
Go ahead, Papa.
Rise, O best among asuras. Your sins have sublimated by the touch of Amma Parvati's Velayudham. Your devotion glows true and bright. I accept your request. The peacock will be my vehicle and the rooster emblem shall be my royal emblem for all times. What a lovely story, Pa. What happened to Devi Surasa? She helped Shurapadman, isn't it? Since Asura was on the side of Adharma, was Surasa punished?
Absolutely. Every action has its consequences. Karthikeya turned to Surasa, Simhika and Gomukasura, who also stood fixed to the ground as though captivated by the sight of his cosmic form.
Devi Surasa, in the first age, Devi Khadru will have to do the penance to reclaim her position as the wife of sage Kashyapa. She will have to repent for enslaving Devi Vinata by deceit. During this time, you will be the mother of all snakes as Devi Khadru's replacement. Devi Khadru will come here to the very place where Shura was defeated. As her sins will be washed on the shore, yours will get washed on the bottom of the mighty ocean in the second age. Your daughter Simhika didn't participate in Shura's dark plans, and so she will be with you until you are rid of your sins. Your son Gomukha will receive his salvation at the hands of Lokanatha Janardana only in the third age. Hoopa, what happens to Gomukha in the Dwapara Yuga?
Granddad used to say, Gomukha is the wild demon Dhenuka whom Krishna slays in the Bhagavata Puranam. He said that Gomukha represents the wrong interpretation of knowledge. Krishna represents time. Time always clarifies all the wrong assumptions we make and holds us accountable for all our follies, isn't it? Many times when we do something wrong and we even realize that we have done something wrong, we still hope against hope that all will become well and we will regain our original stature. It gives us a fragile and false courage. Sometimes time teaches us immediately that we are wrong. But sometimes, because of the merits done by our parents, time delays this lesson. The lesson does come through inevitably. In this story, Padma represents a fragile flower and Shura and his sister Simhika represents false courage. Shurapadman's army was resurrected by the winds from the Sudhamandhara. Devi Surasa lost her awareness and made the winds of the ocean help Shura, who was on the side of Adharma. So, it is through wind that she has to be rid of her punishment. Aeons would pass after the first age and into the second age in the Treta Yuga. Sita would be abducted by Ravana across the same seas. And Ramachandra would ally with the monkeys at Kishkinda to search for his wife. A stubborn and devout monkey would rise above his comrades and battle against the odds to find Sita Amma. piercing through the skies, unsettling the hearts of any brave onlooker, the one and only Hanuman would fly across the oceans to Lanka. At the time, Devi Surasa would be asked by the Devas to test the mettle of Pavanaputra Hanuman. Granddad used to tell us that this test was not for Hanuman. This test was merely for Devi Surasa to check through her breath if her awareness had returned. This is the core symbolism behind the story. Just listening to the story is said to rid us of all sins. That is why the Kaumara tradition believes the entire ocean to be pure.
Appa,
Yes, Papa.
you said that the Kaumara tradition believes the ocean itself to be pure. Why does the tradition believe the salty ocean to be pure?
The entire story was witnessed by the ocean, isn't it? Anybody who listens to this story becomes pure. But the Sagara even saw the entire event happening. So although salty, he is considered pure.
Appa, but why did Shurapadman transform into a peacock and rooster? Why not any other animal?
What a lovely question, Papa. I asked Granddad the very same question. He said the peacock and the rooster are both territorial. The peacock consumes snakes and dances in the rain. This symbolizes the consumption of wrong awareness and true celebration in the reign of pure devotion. The rooster calls out to the whole world when it is dawn. The rooster symbolizes that the dark days of Shurapadman's ego are decimated by the dawn of Lord Murugan's arrival.
Appa, such an awesome story. Isn't it, Vijay uncle?
Yes, this is an awesome story, indeed. This story weaves a tapestry of Puranic tales that spreads across multiple millennia. Now that you mention, it is clear that there is a deep connection between breath and awareness. The story of Karthikeya would inspire children to be more aware in using their breath, and in case they lose their awareness, this story would remind them to use their breath to regain it.
Appa, once we complete bathing in the ocean, where are we going?
Oh, didn't I tell you? We are going to bathe again in the Nadi Canary.
What's that, Pa? Why should we bathe twice? Pa! Appa! Appa!
Hear it first on
Ancient Anecdotes.
your favorite podcast streaming providers.
Tune in for a brand new episode.